Bienvenidos and welcome to the Mindset Masters podcast with Justin Himmelbaum. I'm your host, Justin Himmelbaum. And one thing I hope you never forget is that I am a realtor in Boca Del Rey in Boynton Beach, Florida. If you have any real estate needs, you need a plumber, you need anything, give me a shout, 561-302-9709. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast. Today we have on the one and only Joshua Paul.
Come on.
One of the most handsome, charismatic, two-stepping son of a guns you'll ever meet. Josh, thank you for coming on the podcast. Walk us through what you're doing for work now, where you're at in life. Give us the goods.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So I can walk you through what I'm doing for work. That's a very easy question to answer. Where am I at in life? Probably more of a difficult question to answer. Yeah. But I work for an incredible real estate brokerage. I work in the operations side of things, and I love it. I think a place is as special as the people that you get to do it with. And then when you get to do it with some incredible people at the highest level, it's super special. So, yeah, all the way from Miami, all the way up through St. Augustine, Amelia Island, I get to work in all that space in the real estate industry.
I love that. I always like to qualify how people got in the chair next to me, right? What got Josh in this seat right now to the point where we're talking? And I run a pretty big real estate team.
You do. I can verify that.
Don't forget.
I can verify that.
Yeah. And so when you run a pretty big real estate team, other real estate companies, they want to come talk.
They want a piece of the action. Yeah. And I had reached out to you when I was at that particular organization. Said, hey, listen, you're doing a lot of great things. We would love to find a way to partner with you. And I feel like we were just DMing on their date, still trying to find ways to partner with each other.
Always.
Yeah, verified. And that was several years ago. You're even more successful now than you were then. It's absolutely incredible just what you've done in such a massive industry in such a short amount of time. I think that was one of the most impressive things. But we had that meeting, that one initial meeting, and we kind of going through the numbers. I think that was the other part that was really special and stuck out about you. You knew your numbers, right? If you ever watched The Prophet, Marcus, know your numbers. He always loses his mind when they don't know their numbers. I love numbers. And you came into that meeting so prepared. Not that you knew the agenda at all ahead of time. It's just that it was just in you. And so as questions kept coming up, I'm like, man, this guy knows what he's talking about. I mean, you were working in percentages with some big numbers off the top of your head. I was incredibly impressed. But it was in that meeting, I think in the first 15 minutes, I was like, I love this man. Yeah. And I think you had a reputation that had gone before you from some of your peers, competitors, whatever it was. And you can't judge a book by its cover. You cannot judge a book by its cover or by the voices of others. You got to get a firsthand experience because you never know. Are they your haters? Are they your celebrators?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm so grateful that we had that meeting, that we had that encounter, because a beautiful friendship has come from it. Yeah.
So we meet with my team and we go and we meet with Josh 4 times, I think.
Yeah.
And after the 4th time, I called Josh. I said, hey, Josh, you're one of the coolest dudes I ever met. And I really hope that next week we can go grab lunch. I'm not coming to that real estate company.
Yeah.
But you're real, and I'd love to have a friendship. And we've been great friends since.
Yes.
I think I consider you one of my best friends in the whole world. If I have an issue, I'm usually going to call you.
Yeah.
And that all stems from just a random chance encounter where he was trying, and what that reminds me of is in terms of hiring. When you're hiring, when you're looking for talent, you should always be looking for talent.
Always.
If you run a business,
always.
The waiter is a potential employee of yours.
Yeah.
Everybody is talent. So when I met you, I was like, this is a person I need in my life, and I'm going to figure this out.
Yeah.
So why I think it's important to have Josh on the podcast, and why I think you guys will get a lot of value out of today, is Josh has a very unique story of how he went from an ordinary person to an extraordinary person, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And to go back to what this podcast is about, just for the people who are kind of just tuning in or just know Josh, the point of this podcast is to highlight people who are ordinary people doing extraordinary things. You know, I'm not here to interview the guy whose dad was the CEO of Google. And so now he's the CEO of Exxon, right?
Yeah.
I'm here to interview people who come from normal backgrounds, unassuming backgrounds, and have made something really cool out of their lives and become people who have changed society or changed something. And the way Josh interacts with the world, you'd be hard pressed to meet a person who goes, "Oh, that Josh guy, not super sold on him." And if you need any more, if I needed any more assurance of that, I just went to this man's wedding.
It's true.
And
we had a blast.
But his best man stood up and said, "Josh just collects good people." And not only good people, the same people. Apparently, we all have a lot in common.
We do.
We're all like very competitive men, and very driven men, but also very spiritual and loving and kind men. And I don't think that that's a unique brand of men. I think a lot of men have been taught that that's not the way to make it in the world. That being kind and being loving and being
nice guys
soft,
finish last.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think if you were to look at Josh's wife, you would find out very quickly that this nice guy did not finish last.
I did not.
He did not.
I did not.
So talk me through, give me the Cliff Notes version of childhood to success.
Holy smokes. That is
Cliff Notes.
That's huge. Okay. Unassuming beginnings, I think I would choose that one. You said normal or unassuming. I'd go with unassuming. My beginnings were definitely not normal. I was raised in a Christian household, and it started off in like tension, right? My life is like shrouded in tension because, mom white, dad black, mother came from a Jewish family. So she was bat mitzvahed, and then all of a sudden she's showing up, with a black partner. That was not okay, really, in that time, right? And it was very sensitive for her and the family, and that was difficult. And then he was also of a different religion. That was just like another disrespect to the family. And so I was born into that tension. Fortunately, my grandmother and grandfather wanted to be grandparents more than they cared about all that other stuff. And so it helped to reunite our family when I was born, but it was already tension, right? And then growing up in like a faith-based household, and then also low income at the time, because just for whatever the reasons were, it just was what it was. My mother was in education, and my dad was, off the boat from Haiti, and so just trying to figure his whole situation out. So it was tough, right? And then going to school to the school that my mother was a teacher at was just another layer. So I'm there before school starts. I'm there until after school starts. And then when I get home, I'm doing like church stuff. So that was my life for a good 13 to 12, 13 years. It was just that every single day. But I think you can even see like glimmers of silver linings even in that space. The school district, I was in New York at the time. The school district I was zoned for, not a good district. But the district that my mother worked at, because she had a specialization in hard of hearing, working with students in hard of hearing, great district, okay? And so though I lived in a tough space, I got to learn in some of the best institutions.
Did you ever go to that other school district?
Yes. It was not good. It was
really?
Bullied,
you could tell.
Bullied, picked on, all of that. That was a very real thing.
What age was that?
Gosh, it was probably up until, because I started in that school. Probably in early elementary. So there's maybe 1 or 2 years.
So when you started going to the nice, you knew even at that young age.
Oh yeah.
I'm in a different place.
Way different. I went from just like looking like most of the kids to like I don't look like any of these kids. I don't look like any of these kids. Or at least the ratio changed a whole lot, right? Yeah. And everyone's happy, right? And it was just a more pleasant space. So you'll find that theme in my story.
Yeah.
Really, really tough circumstances, but somehow there's always a silver lining. There's always like this unique space of grace and like favor in my life. And so is that a mindset thing?
Could be. Is that a you thing? Or do you think that anybody would have seen the silver linings in this?
No, I guess you're right. I think in great part, my faith informed my perspective on life. I believe that God is good, and regardless of the adversity or the circumstances or how slim my chances are, man, even if it's 0.00001, so you're telling me I got a shot, right?
Absolutely.
So you're telling me I got a shot.
Yeah.
And so I think that helped launch that outlook, but obviously the world came crashing down when I was about 12, 13. Parents got divorced, everything crumbled. And even then, do you believe that what you believe is really real? Is the world positive and is it all good? Like challenging that outlook. And I just went to I kind of it's like, man, maybe nice guys do finish last, right? I think that's when I bought into that around 12, 13. I'm like, I'm done. I'm kind of over it. I've been picked on, bullied, and always an outcast for one reason or another. Maybe because I ethnically don't fit in different circles or my lifestyle doesn't match, whatever the case may be. I said, you know what? I think I know what it means to be a cool kid. I'll just go be that, And so I kind of just embodied this persona of what cool guys do. We walk away, we talk away. And my environment responded to that, right? All of a sudden I got more friends and I'm not getting bullied anymore. And I got a girlfriend now and that's fun, right? And so I went in that way, but I found that there was a disintegration between who I was and who I was projecting to be. And after 7 years of that, it just really, I had another crisis. I'm like, well, that didn't work,
Oops.
That doesn't work, and I can't say that like I didn't have a whole lot of fun along the way, but ultimately it just left me empty, and so I'd say in my late teens, maybe around 18, 19, I really who are you going to be, Josh? Who are you going to be? And so I found that, the best times in my life were when I just held to my faith, trusted in God, and just, was the person I know I was supposed to be. And a lot of times you don't know what that person even looks like. Sometimes you have a dream about it. Sometimes you might have a sliver of a vision about it. But I said, you know what? I'm just gonna try to be authentic to who I am. Wherever that goes, it goes. Because not being who I am certainly doesn't work. And that's how it really started. Probably around 18, 19, things began to really take a huge life change. And I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna do the things I love. So I finish high school, I'm getting into college, and they go, do what you love. I'm like, well, the only things that I love, they're like degreeable right now, is like food and my faith. So I'm going to go to school for culinary arts. So that's where I started. I started an education in culinary arts. I quickly learned that that's a hobby, not a profession, right? Because I also knew that I loved people. I always appreciated people, right? And when you grow up and you're like ostracized in a lot of ways, because you don't fit in, you can't sit with us mean girls. You learn to value people because when I shifted my persona in a way, I found, I got a table full of people. Where were you the last 12 years of my life, right? Like, are you like, and so I began to appreciate the people that were there for me when no one else was. And then over time, I found that, I'm actually good with people. People will like me for who I am. And then I was like, wow, I know it's like to have a life without people. And so when I'm fortunate enough to be able to have people in my life that care about me, my gosh, I'm going to cherish that with everything. And I never want someone to feel unseen, unheard, unvalued, because I know what that's like. I don't want to see anyone bullied. I know what that's like. I don't want to see anyone taken advantage of. I know what that feels like, right? I think there's altruism there as well. Like, oh, we ought to always be good, right? But I also, because I know what it feels like also.
But when being good isn't getting you the results you want, it's kind of tough, right?
It's tough. But then, understanding being bad doesn't pay off either.
Right.
Right. Like, I don't know where Nice Guys Finish Last came from. Maybe cheaters and bad guys will finish first, but they won't finish over the long run.
Right.
It doesn't last.
But most of us aren't playing a long game.
Yeah. So
most people are playing the very short
That's
term.
a mistake. We were talking about numbers earlier. Let's just do the math on that.
Right.
Like, how long do you want to be in it, right? And a lot of the people that I was in the neighborhoods with growing up, they're like, yo, the streets are for us, right? And like, living a thug life is the way. And right, I bought into that for a little bit, but like, yo, where are you now?
Right.
Where does that go? A
lot of managers at Pizza Hut. What do we got?
Dude, all walks and talks of life, man. And it's, and you know what it is? It's riddled with the what could've, should've been if I only, that's what those lives are riddled with.
I think it was Randy Moss went to this high school where there were so many incredible athletes that were all live back in that town now, never made anything of their lives. They're just drunks in this crappy town he grew up in. Yeah. But he's like, there were so many athletes better than me.
Yo, I stayed the course, dude. I didn't quit. Like, you don't quit, you win. Like, there's something to endurance, right? Like, you can't be shallow with long endurance. It doesn't work. I think a true test of the quality of a human is measured over time. Yeah. Like, you were an amazing dude when we met 4 years ago, 3 years ago, whenever that was. You're still an amazing dude now. Are you perfect? No. Right? But
made a mistake.
Here or there, right? Neither am I. But the core essence and the raw materials of who you are haven't changed. They've only grown. They've only been refined, right? They've gotten better over time, because you're not just this Justin in this season, that Justin in this season. Like, yo, man, I'm this human experience just like you are. I'm learning just like you are, but I'm bringing my best that I have with as much as I know how right now. But I'm also committed to learning. So tomorrow, my as much as I know how will be more than my today's as much as I know how. And so I expect to get better. But I think that also goes back to the growth mindset. I'm grateful and expectant. It's an interesting paradox where they both live together in a tension.
I love that.
Yeah. So I carried that on, and culinary arts didn't work. I'm like, yo, all the times that I would want to be with the people that I value, I'd have to work. Think about it. And I know that you can relate, right? So weekends, evenings, holidays, like, dude, those are primetime people time, but it's also primetime service time. Like,
I think one of the time I was a bartender before this, for the people who don't routinely listen to the show. And I can remember, dude, one day I was supposed to go to somebody's wedding that next weekend, and I'd requested it off months before, but some other bartender needed that weekend off too, and I didn't get it. Yeah. I'm like, I got to go to a wedding. Like, these people bought me seats and food and like, what? Yeah. And you can't, how many times can you miss a brother's birthday or
it's going to eat you up.
A friend's wedding? You just can't.
It'll eat you up, and that's why you've been in that industry, right? So you know what goes on behind, the double swinging doors. Yeah. Like, it's tough. There's a show out, The Chef, right? Chef. Like, I'm like hook, line, and sinker on it, but like, it's also tough. Like, I also saw like, some people that you shadow, like, you hear about their life or their marriages or their kids. And like, there's a lot of like hardship there, right? So service industry is not an easy.
Did you ever actually end up working in the service industry?
I did some time in the service industry. Okay. Yeah, for sure.
What'd you do?
I worked at a pizzeria. Okay. From a food perspective, from like industrial perspective, like mechanic shop. So like helping changing tires and oil.
What was the best advice you ever got from somebody that was while you were working in that industry?
Oh my gosh.
From someone you worked with.
Oh my gosh. I think it was, I don't know if it was like a one-liner axiom as much as what I observed. from one of the best leaders I had in the service industry. I mean, it was just practicing patience, because people will come at you with some drama, bro. And I watched him, a good man, a dad, like husband, small business owner, took me in as an apprentice, like, you know, just like giving out goodness to this world. And I would just watch people come in and just like be rude, tell them that they're charging him too much or whatever it is. You didn't do it like, and I watched this. He just kind of took it and like handled it professionally and moved on. Right. He didn't let it like destroy him. And so I always admired that level of strength. It was like a quiet strength. I admired that.
Yeah. That's cool. I remember this one thing that happened to me. I needed something to do something in the restaurant. And let's say I needed a spoon to stir something. Yeah. Where's the spoon? I can't stir this thing without the spoon. And this guy came up to me, he was like, man, one of my coworkers, he's the older guy, he said, you just use something else, right?
Figure it out.
Use the spatula to stir it. You don't, you know, it was like something as simple as that. And I was like, oh, damn. Yeah. And he was like, the key to life is to be resourceful.
Yes.
And that, when he taught me that changed my life.
It's a game changer.
And 2 years later, he OD'd on oxys.
Yeah.
So it's like,
you get it. Yeah, you get it.
That's that industry.
I mean, that
full of bright people.
Literally.
Bright, smart, social people.
Yep.
But it's just not a great environment for living the life of your dreams.
No. And very, very few can go very, very far without having some of that in their story. But I think you're absolutely right. Like, incredible people, some of the best people I've ever met, which I think is another reason why you're so good at what you do. Like, you know people, you love people, you know how to empathize, you know how to listen, you know how to cut through the nonsense and the stuff, and you know you don't judge people, right? Because you see people in their best moments and in their worst moments, and you're like, hey, I still love you anyway. Do you know? You know how to celebrate the small things and all things. You know how to.
Oh, I like that one. Yeah. Celebrate the small things in all things.
Yeah.
Small things and all things, or the small things in all things?
I say small things and all things.
I like that.
Yeah.
All right.
But like, you also, you don't, like, you know how to be with people where they are. I think you also do a good job of like calling out potential in people. You know, I don't know how, not everybody can do that, right? We were having a conversation over there earlier, and you just asked me some questions. I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, what are you talking about, bro? No, but I think you're quite, you have a unique voice in that way. So yeah, I get out of culinary arts. I end up, I remember food or faith. I went the faith route. I went to school for Bible and a business, because my mentor at the time told me I was a leader. And I was like, I'm a leader.
And you're a fan of alliteration.
I am a big fan of alliteration, 100%. And so I do a lot of public speaking. So like alliteration are like memory maps. Yeah. So,
Bible and business, baby.
That's it. My mentor at the time was like, hey man, I know you love faith. I think also you'd be great at business. I'm like, I don't think I'm a leader, bro, but because you're my mentor, I'm like, I'm good with it. And I've had many mentors, right? So I would always say, like, have mentors and people around.
What's the key to having mentors?
Dude, be willing to learn. Always be willing to learn and be curious. Ask questions. If you can't be a curious person for the sake of learning, not for the sake of being nosy, those are two different things. Like, mind your business, number one. But if you are genuinely curious, you'll be surprised to find people are happy to share knowledge. Yeah. You know what's interesting? Every day someone gets married.
Every day.
You know what else is interesting? Every day someone buys a house, and you know that better than anyone. Why is it that when people show up to their wedding or show up to purchasing a house, they have no idea what they're doing?
Because they don't ask.
You're not asking, right? Or someone's not sharing, right? So I think we got to be people that are asking and sharing, right? We shouldn't be gatekeeping information. I think what also makes you so successful is you have a genuine knowledge of the business. One of my favorite quotes, Albert Einstein: you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough. I think spend the time learning. A lot of things after that will become a whole lot easier because you have a level of understanding. So in other way, I know I just quoted Albert Einstein. I'm not going to quote DJ Khaled. You have to learn.
Or are they cousins? First, second cousins.
Yeah. Listen, knowing is better than learning. I know that sounds weird, but you got to learn to know. But just know that when you know, knowing is better than learning. And he's just teasing out the fact that, like, yo, if you want to understand it simply enough, you got to spend the time understanding it enough. And the only way you can understand it enough is by asking the questions and being curious and really trying to gain understanding. I mean, it's like measure twice, cut once.
Yeah.
Right? Learn, boom. Then you can blaze through the different tasks and things that come up in life.
How many friends have you had in life or how many people have you known in life? Because I don't know that you covet many of these people as friends, but anything you say, oh yeah, I know that. Oh yeah, I know that. They can't deal with the fact that maybe there is something in this world that they don't know.
That's
and it's the difference between a fixed mindset and a growth mindset, right?
Yes.
So many people in this world have this fixed mindset. I don't even think they realize that there's a different way. But this is something every 10-year-old has this.
Yeah.
So when you speak to a 10-year-old and you try and teach a 10-year-old something, most of the time they don't want to hear it because they don't understand that there's knowledge outside of themselves that could come in, that could change their life.
Do you want to know what's crazy? What, right? Fixed mindset.
Yeah.
I'm going to use your analogy right now. Mm-hmm. Fixed mindset is just immaturity.
That's all it is.
In adults.
100%.
You understand? And
it's a 10-year-old that never grew up.
Yeah. It's fixed mindset is like arrested development, and it is immaturity. And it's in some ways even insecurity, right? Because I'm comfortable with what I know works. The known, the familiar is safe. It's confident. I can measure my my exposure to risk. But when you go into a space that's unfamiliar, which is the learning space, because you're not familiar, you're gaining familiarity as you grow, right? But it gets scary. You're venturing into the unknown.
A lot of risk.
So much risk, right? And it's scary. Risk is scary, right? But you got think about it. It's just so corny, right? You grow outside your comfort zone, but the bottom line is that it's true. You know, my wife will tell me, why did you just do that? You've never done it before. All of a sudden, you're just going to start doing that? I said, sweetheart, for the rest of my life, I'm going to do things that I've never done before. It means I'm getting better. I'm learning. It means I'm growing. God forbid that I only do the things I've only ever done before, right? And so it's so funny. I was like, sweetheart, for the rest of my life, you better pray that I do things I've never done before, because it means I'm coming a better man for you. And one day when we ever have kids, right? So I should be doing things I've never done before. Like, be mad at me if I'm not doing things that I've never done before.
What's the last thing you really failed at?
Oh God, I try to forget those, if I'm being completely honest. What's the last thing I fail at? I'll be honest. I feel like I'm one of those guys, like I don't lose. Like, I learn or I win type of situation. But
we say, it's not win or lose, it's win or learn.
Yeah, I win or I learn. But let's see, I just lost something. So I don't know. I just lost like a paddle competition.
Paddle?
Yeah, it's like tennis.
Oh, it's that thing? You're playing it?
I'm not like playing it like religiously, but I was upset. For me, that's failure. I'm like, I didn't show up here to lose.
Yeah. Why'd you lose?
I don't know. It was my third time playing the game ever.
That's weird that you would lose your third time playing
but the still, game.
I cannot believe you, Joshua.
No one steps on the court and goes, yeah, I'm definitely going to lose this for sure. No one does that. So I'm there. Well, maybe some people do, but I don't. And I'm there. I'm with my good friend and I'm versing some good friends. They're like, yo, I got to hold it down for my boy.
Yeah.
And you don't want to be that guy.
Did you feel like you were the weak link a little bit?
Yeah. I'm like, yo, I let us down. Yeah. I let us down. And
what'd your friend say? Hell yeah, you did.
No, it didn't even like register on his radar.
Right.
He's like, yeah, man, this is a cool day. I'm like, yeah, man, but we didn't we're not hanging up trophies on the wall. You know what I mean? Really
cool book. I think you would really appreciate. It is called something about tennis. The Inner Game of Tennis.
The Inner Game of Tennis? Like the mental game? Is that like what it is? Yeah.
And
I probably
where it is partially about tennis, it is mostly about mental stuff.
Mind state.
You don't have to have ever even played tennis to read the book.
Yeah.
And it's about the different people who play sports as adults.
And are like personas?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he breaks it down. Perfecto, he calls one of them. Okay. And that's the person who's playing to get it perfect. So it's not about winning. It's about just playing the sport perfectly. Yeah. And there's like the super competitive person who's like, I just got to win at all costs. And then there's a person who's just out there to be social. I'm just out here to play and meet people and blah, blah. And then there's the person who's just out there to get fresh air. Wow. And there's all these people.
Which one did you feel like you most related to?
I'm there to perfect it. I'm there. And I think I started tennis too late in life to ever feel like I'm going to perfect it. But I am there like, all right, I messed up that shot. I don't really get mad at myself. Yeah. I realize it's part of the learning process. Yeah. But what I do obsess over is, okay, how can I do it better next time?
How do I adjust? Next
time. Yeah. And so every time I hit a ball is a chance to get better.
Yeah. Yeah. So
I think I feel like you'd be in that one or the competitive one.
Yeah. It's somewhere in the middle, right? Because I don't play paddle every day, right? For example. Right. So I can't be like, I'll be back on this court tomorrow. Yeah. And I'm going to like adjust my grip. I'm gonna record my swings and record these sets and then go watch professionals or people play at a higher level on YouTube and then slow motion. I had just this game, so I'm trying to adjust in real time. But I think my primary motivation wasn't, let me learn technique so my next swing will be better. It was
you weren't playing long term.
Yeah, I'm like, I need to win today. Yeah. So let me watch in real time. But like, when every point matters in these matches, it's like, it's really about who fails less, who fails at getting the ball over the net, like who has less mistakes. Like, that's really it. Just don't have a mistake. Just put it over and return it and you'll be fine. I know it sounds easy, but it's really not, but I do play basketball weekly. That's a sport that I play weekly. Yeah. And so in that, I am like, okay, what can I do better? How can I learn technique better? I do still want to win every time I get on that court, for sure. I bring that level of intensity. But there is more technique because I know that it's just a number of reps and my knowledge of the game and my knowledge specifically about technique that will help me be a better teammate and a bigger force and impact on the court.
I love that. I'm watching constant videos about tennis. I've fallen in love with the sport. But you were
good at it as well.
I had never played until 3 years ago.
Really?
Never.
I feel like there was like a sport you did that you were really, really good at.
I was a field goal kicker and a soccer goalie.
Yeah, okay.
And I was pretty darn good at both of those.
Good foot.
Yeah. I've hit a 63-yard field goal.
No, you didn't. Yeah. Are you serious? Yeah. That's like NFL status right there. Like real NFL football, 60. I feel like whatever the size of the football, 63 yards is 63 yards.
63 yards.
That's insane. How old were you when you did that?
19.
19? Yeah. Wow.
I probably should have stuck with it, but I was,
Did you play in high school or college? I didn't have the confidence.
I played in high school. Yeah. And I had a tryout for UCF. Yeah. And I didn't go.
Oh, wow.
I was so afraid.
You took yourself out of the game.
Yeah. I couldn't. I was still immature. I was still very immature.
I think the battle of the mind
is wild.
Is massive.
Massive.
I'm training for a marathon. You've run several at this point, so you're part of an inspiration for me in that space. I intentionally have gone into this training saying, my body can do this. It's my mind that needs to be sharpened. Because you're talking 4 to 5 hours of cardio.
Or if you're me, 6.
Yeah. whatever the number is, it's a lot of cardio. Yeah. Right? And not stopping. Right?
Just don't stop.
So it's just really just training my body.
You don't lose if you don't stop.
You don't quit, you win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes your body makes you quit.
Sometimes your body makes you quit, but I feel like I'm getting ahead of it enough. You're going to be fine.
Yeah, you're already running 10-minute miles.
No. For like 6.
Yeah, that's good. I can't run a 10-minute mile for 2.
It's different when you got to go 26. Yeah. So
we'll be doing those at like 14, 15-minute miles. I'll be walking.
A marathon coming up.
Yeah. Chicago.
That's big.
Chi-Town playoff.
Chi-Town, baby. What's the weather going to be like there?
Hopefully like 50 degrees.
Which is, I feel like that's great running weather.
The perfect temperature apparently for a marathon, don't quote me on this, is like 48 degrees.
Yeah. I don't know. Being like, I'm not a Florida kid, right?
You're doing the Miami, which to me is nuts. It's just too hot.
Is it? Like, but it's in January, right? So
Yeah, it's still going to be.
what's our January weather? Is it like 70?
Yeah.
I feel like 70 is decent. I can do it.
So the New York City Marathon was 72.
Oh.
It was supposed to be 50 and it was 72.
Yeah.
And the DNF, the did not finish rate, was like 15%.
No way.
15%. And
What's average?
probably like 10%.
Yeah. Okay. So 50% increase. Yeah. Interesting.
Can you imagine just that you got there? It's like 50,000 people.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So you have
50,000 people
qualified.
started and 43,000 people finished.
So scary.
Also, imagine 50,000 people
No.
running at the same time.
How many people run the
It's a
Miami?
whole stadium.
Yeah. How many people run the Miami?
Probably in the neighborhood of 12 to 15,000,
Wow.
I would think.
So significantly.
Significantly.
Wow.
Less.
How many
These major ones, people come from all around the
Yeah.
world. They're
How about
productions.
how many were in Disney? Because I know you did that.
Disney, Disney I think was like 10,000.
Really? So these are all like small? These marathons are just small compared to, so like the Boston and New York, those are like.
So there's 6 big marathons.
Yeah.
There's 3 in the US.
Uh-huh.
There's Chicago, New York, Boston.
Okay.
There's 3 outside the US, Tokyo, Berlin, and London.
Have you done any of those?
None of the other.
Are you
I've done
going
New
to?
York and Chicago.
Are you going to?
I would really like to do Berlin.
Berlin.
I think that would be really cool.
I feel like I would really love Japan.
Oh.
Because I feel like there's like a lot of like.
Let's see how you like this first one. Maybe we'll do one.
I don't know if I'm going to like it. Why Berlin?
Foreign exchange student, lived at my house for a long time from Berlin, for a year.
So you have like some love for the
and
country.
he's become one of my best friends in the world.
Wow.
He lives in Brussels now.
Wow.
Works for the EU.
Okay. Yeah. So you would like go and like work, like do your race, but then also get to hang with some buddies.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like you're a big like 2-fer, 3-fer, 4-fer.
Oh, I love it.
I feel like you love like, I can turn this one trip into like 5 different amazing things.
That's the key.
Yeah. I mean, you want to maximize it.
Yeah. Your time is, one thing I've learned about time is it is very finite.
It's finite. So,
spending it with people, and that's when I realized that I think this is a good topic to get on.
Yeah.
Is how I chose you as a friend.
Yeah.
How we,
Thank you.
and how you chose me as a friend, right? In the same capacity. Most people, when they get over like 20, never pick another friend in their life.
That's weird to me.
Especially over 30. I mean,
that's weird.
Other than people who, hey, our kids go to the same school and they want to hang out, so I guess we'll hang out.
It's like kids, bonus friends.
Right.
Yeah.
But so as parents, right, you become, but I don't think like single men seek each other out and like, it takes work to create a friendship. So when you're in high school, it's like, oh, we're going to see each other in first period every day.
Kind of just like our schedule makes
be
it
friends. Yeah. But then when you get older, there's just too much stuff in the way. There's too much noise.
Yeah.
And you really have to work at a friendship.
Yes.
I mean, Josh lives in Miami. I live in Delray Beach. We're probably an hour door to door from each other's houses. But we both make a concerted effort to make sure that we get in each other's space and hang out.
You have to, right? You have to. You invest into things that you value. Yeah. And so do you value the people around you? Okay. I think a really good test of what you value is where does your time go? Where does your talents go? And where does like your resources go? Yeah. Where those things go, wherever that going is, those are the things that you value. So, I mean, it's also not one-sided, right?
Say those one more time because I think the listener should.
Yeah. I think if you want to know what someone values, where does their time go? Time. Where does their talents go? Like, what do they do with their fun stuff? What do they have fun with? Like, what do they do in their hobby time, their bonus time, happy hours, et cetera? And then resources. Like, where does the money go? Where do they spend PTOs, and where do they spend actual dollars and cents? And what are they investing in? Like, whether it's a nonprofit or whatever the situation may be.
So many people say they're healthy people, but if you look at where they put their money, they're so much quicker to put money at a happy hour than they are to put money in a gym membership.
Ooh, you're talking to some people right now. And I'd agree with that.
How many people do you know that are willing to spend $500 a month on alcohol and won't spend $200 on a gym?
Bro, Easily most people. I mean, right. I don't know about most people. Maybe like I'm speaking from like a Miami perspective.
Yeah, we do have a very I think South Florida is a very unique perspective on this one.
But I think at a certain genre of human will just like, yeah, from door to door, I'm going to spend a few $100s tonight.
Yeah.
Like Ubers, food, miscellaneous pizza, hot dog at the end because I need that in my body right now.
Yeah.
And anything else in between, cover charges. I know we had a whole lot of concerts out here, just a ticket alone, right? So yeah, I think even doing an assessment of myself, like what's important for me in the long term, I got to build that in to my weekly, my daily, because you are the sum of micro decisions. Yeah. And so I build in my workouts, I build in my food, and fortunately I got a wife that helps me a little bit with like meal prepping. Otherwise, I'm just like eating chicken sausages like 4 times a day.
I love that. I think it's important. I hope everyone that's listening to this podcast right now thinks about where they're putting their resources. Get really honest with yourself about how much money you're spending on one night out.
Yep.
Versus your gym memberships, the things that really matter towards your health.
It all connects. I mean, it all connects. My wife is like, she can eat ice cream, cereal, and chips.
She's 26 years old.
Yeah. And the girl will lose weight somehow. I cannot do any of those things.
At 36, I think it'll change.
I cannot. I don't know, man. I don't know. She's got some crazy genes.
Does she?
Yeah. But some people are like that, right?
That's
there are people that are...
My brother. I got an older brother who can't gain weight.
Yeah.
And me and my other brother, man, we eat a taco.
That's
and
it.
that taco's sitting right.
That's it.
Sitting right
Dude,
on my stomach.
You got to fast for 2 weeks now.
Yeah.
I was just at the park Monday playing basketball. There's a 65-year-old guy over there ready to suit up. And I'm like, you're not 65. There's 0% chance you're 65. Yeah. And... no, but I mean, look, you got to be intentional about these things, and she has certain habits that she can do. I can't. I just can't live like that. So, you also want to know that when I'm not happy with what I see in the mirror.
That was the most New York thing I ever heard you say. When I'm not happy with what I see in the mirror, yo, dog.
Yeah, but for real.
Let's go out to Coney Island.
Yeah. You know the vibes. Yeah. But when you're not content with your physiology, right? Yeah. I don't feel like I'm out of shape or whatever it is. Like that's going to impact the other stuff. It's going to impact how well you perform at your job. It's going to impact how well you perform for me as a husband. It's going to impact how I'm as a brother, as I'm a friend, right? And if not, like tangibly, emotionally, it'll get to me. Like I can get into a depressed space if I'm physically unhealthy in my own assessment,
100%.
Right? And so because I know that about myself, I have to be a guardian of the best version of me. What's more important? The happy hour, which will be fun. It will be fun.
Yes.
There will be tequila. Like it will be amazing. But then I'm going to pay for it emotionally, internally, in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, right? Because that happy hour cost me tonight's workout or tomorrow's workout in the morning.
Usually both.
Sometimes both, right? Yeah. And so, I've just found like if I really want the most from life, I want the most from my relationships, and I want to bring the best version of me, sometimes you just got to prioritize like what's important. I still do tequila, but it's when I plan to do the tequila. Do you know what I mean? And it's just that.
How have this mindset, this ability to grow friendships, this persona that you've created, this person that you are, and the faith that you have, how has all of this, how do you think all this culminates into success in work?
Yeah. Well, again, coming from like unassuming beginnings, you know what it's like when you don't have any of those things.
Yeah.
So when you get them, oh man, the level of gratitude, the level of appreciation, you just value it. And so maybe you don't come from unassuming beginnings. Maybe you come from privilege and like you just did a lot with what you had. That's amazing too. I think it's just maintaining gratitude. Don't lose gratitude. You lose gratitude, you start devaluing the things around you. If I stop appreciating the fact that you'll text me randomly, like the most ridiculous things, I stop appreciating the fact that you will comment the most ridiculous joke, or if I stop appreciating those things, I'm going to start devaluing all the beautiful things that are in you. So I have a proclivity for gratitude. I appreciate things. Again, I appreciate things. I increase the value.
Do you know what the word appreciate means?
What does it mean, Justin?
To give value to.
Right. I know. That's what I was saying.
Yeah. The Latin word appreciare.
See, that's what I love about this guy. You are a genius. Like, you're actually smart. Like, I don't know if people actually like, I think you're good at jokes, but you have to be intelligent to be a good comedian, by the way. Like, right. So there's a genius behind comedy. So gratitude is one of the things that my life has helped to birth in me. My faith reinforces it. Work ethic. I don't think there's so many books that can tell you, right? But work ethic, and commitment, right? I commit to my commitments. If I tell you I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. Like, you can bet on that. It's going to happen. And in a world where that's not common, well, you begin to stand out.
Yeah.
Right? Because
isn't it weird what you need to be uncommon in this world? Wow. You just, for people who clearly aren't in the studio, which is only 3 of us right now, my handyman Jim is here. And when I introduced Jim,
that's right.
When I introduced Jim to Josh, I said, he's an amazing handyman because he shows up.
Yeah.
The fact that is we've both used that today.
Yeah.
For how to be uncommon.
Yeah.
How to stand out.
Yeah.
Is just show up.
Yeah. Yeah.
What a world.
And I think we highlighted some other things like curiosity, a lifelong learner. Leaders are readers because leaders are learners, right? And so, like, constantly be willing to learn. Like, everybody around me has something that I can learn from. So let me learn.
Everybody. The janitor.
Everybody.
The handyman, the architectural engineer that is a handyman.
Yeah, he's killing it. And so value the people around you, and I would say for me, the biggest turning point was when I said, I'm going to be who I was designed to be.
How'd you know who that was?
I think I committed to the decision before I understood really the definition. And so committing to the decision, be true to Josh, right? If I can't be honest with myself, I can't be honest with the people around me.
Yeah.
Like, that's just bottom line truth, right? And so I go, I just got to be real with me, whatever that means. I got to keep growing. I know who I want to be. I want to be someone that honors my faith, honors the people around me, and lives a life of purpose, of significance, and of value, of impact. And so I just knew some of those core tenets. So I followed that until my understanding grew. My perspective grew. So I was able to, I got more options here. So as I continue to grow, as I continue to go, right? As you go, as you go, and as you know, you grow. And so as I followed that journey, my vision, my perspective continued. Like, asked me when I was 18, what's your big goal, Josh? You know, all colleges, like, they want to, what's your big goal, man? Dude, I don't know. I want to get married. I want to have kids by the time I'm 30, and I want to make 6 figures. Yes, that's my goal. That's my big goal when I was 18. Then when you do that, a few years later, minus the family, the kids and all that, you go, wait, I thought these were like lifelong goals. I don't know. I got to re-dream again. Yeah. I have to revision again. And I think we should be people that are like that. Like, keep dreaming, keep going, the world is big. Options are endless, you know? And so that's how I ended up in a growth mindset. And I think it just kind of just feeds itself. I put myself around people that help me think bigger. I put myself around mentors that help me process and think bigger. So I just put these tenets around me to help navigate me along the way. And that's how I ended up at the organization I'm in with the people that I'm at. But it was those raw materials that I committed to, raw materials of dedication, commitment, integrity, learner, being confident and comfortable in who I am. There's so many people that operate from a place of insecurity. When you leave from a place of insecurity, it won't go far long. And so I'm okay with who I am. And I'm okay enough with who I am that where I'm at, I'm okay to tell you no. I'm okay to tell you yes. The same way that you're okay to tell me no, by the way. Same way you can tell me yes. I'm also okay to say, hey, I'd love to like meet for lunch and like have a conversation. I feel like there's something more I want to learn here. So when you leave from a place of security, you're empowering everybody around you.
Yeah.
And when the people around you are feeling empowered and they're going and they're accomplishing and they're achieving, you're building a bond. And I find when you add people, you're not just 1 + 1 = 2. When you're adding people on this journey, whether it's in pleasure, whether it's in business, it's not just a 1 for 1 = 2. It becomes multiplication. Somehow 1 and 1 = like 3.
So one of my favorite books is called The Go-Giver Sells More. And what Bob Berg says in there, Bob Berg says, when you lose a client, and let's just call it a friend, when you lose a friend, you don't only lose the connection to that friend.
Yeah.
Usually you lose the connection to everybody that would go to his wedding.
Yeah.
So if you think about that multiplication,
that's good.
Every time you add a person to your life, a real person, you're adding somewhere between 30 and 250 people.
That's exactly right.
To your life.
Yeah.
Because it's everything that you're learning from those 250 people that now I have access to, right?
Yeah.
All those connections that now I have access to.
Yeah.
And what I would like for you to do now, I know we're coming towards the end of this, but you have such a way of growing these friendships like we talked about before. Your best man at the wedding said you collect the same type of person. And maybe you can enlighten us on exactly how he said it, because I'm not going to remember it perfectly, but you may. But I would like to hear what your formula is for it.
Yeah.
Like if you really had to break it down, and I don't know that you have in your mind.
Sure. Try to riff it.
But yeah, how do you think you go about finding the right people to make connections with or friendships with? What is your thought process, plan behind it? You know, what are you hoping to get out of those friendships?
Yeah.
And how do you make them happen?
Yeah. So I think even mentioning the go-giver, right, that there's nods to strategy, and this is in some ways a strategy question. Authenticity has to come before the strategy. Strategy isn't a prequel to authenticity. Authenticity, then strategy, right? Like when we met, dude, I genuinely enjoyed my time with you. I'm like, holy cow. And I think at one point I was like, dude, I would happily have a drink with this guy. Yeah. And in fact, I used to manage a team of 14, 15 people when I worked in software. And that's how I would do my interviews. In a lot of ways, that's still how I do my interviews. Would I hang out with you? Do I like you? Right? I think the 3 essentials to a successful sales interaction is know, like, trust. Do I know you? Do I like you? Do I trust you? So
those are the only 3.
Right. And so can we just boil it down to that for a little bit? And we're all wired differently, right? So you have a different relationship with Jeff, acronym, right? JEF, than I do, right? You know him, you like him, you trust him. From what I know of him, I like him. And from what I've seen him do around here, I trust him a little bit, right? Not to the degree that you are, but enough that I would call him and say, hey, man, would you be willing to help me out? And maybe in that process, we grow in our knowing, we grow in our liking, and grow in our trusting. It becomes more friendly, and it gets closer. But so first of all, do I know this person? I can't befriend a stranger, right? In the definition of a stranger, I don't know this person. But let's say I meet someone, so I think that's one thing. Go say hi to somebody. Put yourself around some strangers.
So put yourself in harm's way. Put yourself out there.
Put yourself in harm's way. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. Go to a game night. Go to a bar. Go to a church event. Go to
game nights have been big for you, huh?
I love game nights, man. And do the things that you love. I think that's also part of it. Like, what do you love? Go do those things. You're going to find other people that love what you love. And then guess what? You already have common ground with those people.
I love getting my lawn cut.
Get your lawn cut, man.
Which is very apparent by the background noise in this podcast.
Everybody go and get the same lawn cutter guy, and you're right there. You guys can just talk about Jimmy out there being best friends. And so, one, I'd say go meet new people. You don't have to be a weirdo speed dating, but go do some things that you love. There's nothing wrong with speed dating, right? But go do the things that you love. If it's basketball, go do basketball. So I go and pursue things that I love, and I try to bring as many people with me or invite as many people with me.
What about people who are a little scared of that?
You don't have to, it's not about, don't make it about anybody else. Yeah. You can be a little bit selfish here. What do you like? Is it chess? Is it Catan? Is it happy hours? Is it a particular wine? Or whatever is your thing. It could be pickleball. It could be bike riding. It could be going to the beach. It could be volleyball. There could be anything. It could be this favorite restaurant you like to go to. Whatever it is, go do something that puts you in a round community. It could even be an online thing. I've got friends that play video games, and a large part of their friend group is in this chat thing that pops up while they play. And so they have these headsets and they're playing this thing, and that's the common joy, is this online community that they have. But it's a community, right? So get into a community. Don't isolate. We're not designed for isolation.
We are not. My parents, who both listen to this podcast, shout out Linda and Hank.
Hi, Linda and Hank. He talks about you a lot.
So my parents have been, my mom has kind of struggled to find community.
Yeah.
And I think that has been a negative in her life, is that she doesn't put herself out there and go seek out community.
It can be scary.
And my dad has started seeking out community, and I can see him getting so much healthier and so much better from that community. And it's so important to have that community for our mental health.
Yes.
I mean, look at what happens when someone goes into solitary confinement.
Yes.
They go legitimately crazy.
Yeah. No, and to your mom, he loves you so much. You have created some incredible kids. I got to meet another one, and he's also equally hilarious and intelligent.
Yeah.
So I'm just feeling like it's in the family. But yeah,
genetics.
Mom, whatever you like if I say, well, what would you do in your free time? Like, what's your top 3 things you would go do? Maybe it's shopping.
She'd eat Italian food.
Maybe it's book club. Maybe it's Italian. All right, write a list. Do an Italian tour, right? Go do an Italian food tour in your hometown, or within a 30-minute, 60-minute radius of where you live. Then invite people to come with you. Post about it, text about it, whatever your communication strategy is. I'm going on a 10-stop Italian tour, and I want to bring some friends with me. So if that's your thing, let me know. Get a group chat. Drop it in with the girls or whatever it is, and say, these are the places I'm going, and these are the dates. Who's coming with me on which day? And there, you've already started. And to Justin's point, you just get one to go. All their attachments, now you become exposed to. So maybe they do a thing, canasta, dominoes, spades, bowling, whatever it is. And because you're comfortable with that new one person, their network has given you an invitation to a new thing that might be scary, but it's a little less scary because you have that one little connection that you shared with over what is more an intimate, maybe a one-on-one or one-on-two Italian night. So it can start small, but that small will build enough confidence and comfort and safety to really open up opportunity to go to a bigger thing.
I love that. And so now you form these friendships, right?
Yeah.
So you go out. How do you choose who's going to be your friend? Is it just like a vibe thing?
It starts off with...
You seem to be good about judging character.
Yeah.
Knowing who's the good people and the bad people. How do you see that authenticity in others?
I think I do. I think I am a good test of character, but also people are terrible at hiding who they really are. I think a lot of people think they're good at it. They're really not. Like, people will show you who they are. Like, if you walk around as someone who is authentic and who is honest and is committed to these core values, I hate to use this word because it has like a lot of connotation, but I'm using it anyway. There is somewhat of a frequency. And I don't mean like rocks and all that stuff. Like, that's not where I'm going with this, but like there is like tuning a guitar, there is a tune there. And when something is off, you kind of get, whoa, that seems like it's not, something feels off about that. And so what I would say is, you would know, because I ask a lot of questions the first time I hang out with someone. I will give anyone at least one hangout. That's my rule. I give anyone at least one hangout for sure. That's because I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what I don't know. And so I give anyone at least one hangout. And in that one time that we meet, right? And it could be that I asked them to hang out and they finally said yes. This is guys or girls, by the way. Like now, not so much girls because I'm married, but like, hey, I'll follow up. If I find like with, let's say, suppose we didn't meet the way we met. I said, I just heard about you, or you're in my neighborhood, or I saw you on Instagram or social media. I go, dude, I'd love to hang. Can we do a happy hour? Oh, you do a good job of inviting people into your world, right? Not everyone's like that. So you do have to be proactive. So, hey, can we grab a drink, or can we do a thing? Do you want to do a workout? Whatever it is. So that's me being proactive. But this is someone invites me, I'll say yes. When we're together, I am trying to do my best to learn as much about them. And so I would typically navigate 5 categories. By the time I get through these 5 categories, I will understand them enough, and they will understand me enough, and we'll understand the way we operate enough to understand, hey, do we have like a chemistry here? Do we have a friendship chemistry here? But it also works for dating, by the way. You've waited to the final moment. I'm going to give you the keys for navigating any relationship. 5 F's. I would encourage you to ask at least 5 questions in each category. It could be one initial question and you just double down on that question, 2nd layer, 3rd layer, 4th layer, 5th layer. I'll give you 5 categories. You use this with absolutely anybody. I promise you, not only will it jumpstart your relationship, it will maintain it forever. 5 categories. Number 1, faith. Number 2, family, friends, fitness, finances. You got to grow in your own security in these areas, by the way. I got to be comfortable and confident in my faith, comfortable in my finances, fitness, et cetera, et cetera. But even if you don't, you're never at a level 10 in any of these, by the way. No. You're never level 10 at all of them at one time. You can be level 10 like 2. And then maybe like at 8, 7, 6 in the other 3s. And so what I'll do is when we hang out, I will go through this. Sometimes it's overt. Dude, let's go through the 5 F's. Sometimes
we do this often.
I do, but most of the times it's not. For me, it's a mental model to navigate a framework and frame a conversation. I don't know you. Hey, man, so what do you do for like fun? Like, what do you do like for fun? And then
I love to play tennis.
It'll be tennis.
Let's play it out.
It's amazing. How many times have you played? 3 times in your life. I know you're watching the videos. That's amazing. Yeah. Like, what do you do for work though? And then we'll walk through work stuff. That's cool, man. Hey,
let's play it out. I sell real estate.
Okay, you sell real estate. That's amazing. How long have you been doing that for?
5 years.
5 years? That seems like a long time. Like, is that like a long time for real estate agents?
It's a short time, but it's enough time to really figure out whether you're going to be any good at it or not.
Are you good at it?
I've had a modicum of success.
Do you like it? Something you see yourself doing long term, or is it something just for now and trying to feel your way out? Yeah,
that's a great question. I really love to help people find the best property suited for them, or help them sell their house at the highest value. This is usually the largest transaction for most people, their largest asset. So it is a huge moment in their life. And me loving people so much, I really love that I can provide value in such a large moment.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I can agree with that. I mean, I purchased my own house, but like, I feel like it's a super competitive space. Like, how do you differentiate yourself? I mean, like, how many times can someone buy a home, right, over the course of 5 years, right? Yeah. Like, so like, how do you differentiate yourself?
Well, the average person at this point buys a house once every 10 years, is involved in a real estate transaction. So, you're right. It's not often. So you do have to cast the kind of wide net, because if you only have 20 people that you're going to do 2 deals a year, and that's about $20,000 a year. So you can't really make a living out of it. But what I've done to differentiate myself is to make sure that I'm providing value to others through, interacting with their social media, or providing them vendors if they need a great handyman. I got this guy, Jim Frederick, top notch. Or, hey, listen, you're thinking about real estate companies. I won't only say Keller Williams. I'll say, hey, what about One Sotheby's? I got a guy, Josh there. Who's amazing.
And you have actually done that. You have actually done that.
And talk to him. Maybe that's the fit for you.
Let me ask you this then. Suppose, I was recently this year a first time home buyer, and it's like so many things that you just learned going into it, like real time, right?
Yeah.
What do you find like the top 3 things like first time home buyer, like sticker shock? Maybe it's not always about price, but like, oh, nobody talks about this. Why did I just find out this about this now?
So
that's what I learned. I found out things I should have known this before.
This is a great piece of content. So I'm going to look into the camera for this one. So the 3 things that first-time home buyers usually get slapped in the face with. One, the taxes on your property will be approximately 2% of your purchase price. So do not look at what the current taxes are. That will only be for the remainder of that year. Number 2, this is really, really, really big. Insurance. Make sure that you have a very trusted inspector, because if they lie and say that your house has 5 years, Citizens, the insurance company, is going to come to your house and look at the roof. And if it does not have 5 years, they are going to cancel you and you're going to have to put a new roof on. So that's going to be a huge expense that you are not ready for.
Yeah.
So
what's typical cost of a roof?
Typical cost of a roof, somewhere between 15 to 30,000. Yeah. A lot of factors there, but 15 to 30,000. Number 3, the number 3 biggest thing that first-time home buyers do not understand is that you must hire a good realtor who is going to protect you from those first 2 things and is going to make sure that you're set up with the right lender, the right inspector, the right people in your corner so that you don't make financial mistakes that can cost you a lot more money. Well, a realtor, as you know, Josh, costs the buyer $0.
Yes.
The buyer's agent does not get paid by the buyer. Hire the right realtor. He will save you way more money than he even gets paid, and you'll have a friend and an asset for life.
Yeah, and I think you're giving free game right now because I think like a lot of people don't even understand, as a buyer, an agent doesn't cost you money.
Agent doesn't cost you money.
As a buyer, the seller pays the broker commission. And like, I think a lot of people just don't understand that point. Yeah. But I want to just take that into the follow-up question. Yeah. What do you find is like top 3, like top 3 financial advice going into a property purchase? Because again, it was a thing that I learned in real time. And you're talking about lenders, and you're talking about rates, and you're talking about at the closing table. Like, so what would you say? Like, hey, 3 things going into a property purchase you should consider financially.
I think you should always have, 15% to put down.
Cash.
So I don't want you to put 15% down.
Correct.
I want you to put 5% down.
Yeah.
I want you to put 10% down. But you need to have extra money in reserves.
Yes.
Because things go wrong.
Yep.
Your inspector doesn't open up any walls.
Yes.
He can't.
Has to be visible.
It has to be visible.
Yeah.
He is very protected. So that's number 1. Number 2 is the first thing we talked about in the last point, which is
a lot of people say 20%, but you're saying 15% should be good enough.
I think you should have 15% and you should put 5 to 10% down.
Okay. Yep.
I think you should really, really, really be ready for the fact that those taxes are going to jump.
So tell this is the second time you brought it up. So what does that mean?
So that means...
Maybe give us a mathematical example. I think you're good at those.
Okay. So I've owned a home since 1980.
Yeah.
My taxes when I started owning the home were $1,000 because I bought it for
whatever
$50,000.
Yeah. Which is, those are pretty real numbers.
Pretty real number. Yeah. Let's say $100,000 I bought it for in 1980. Yeah. And now it's worth $400,000.
Yeah.
I've been paying $2,000 in tax and then 3% increases per year on $2,000.
Yeah.
For 40 years now, let's say. So that 3% increase, we're up to, I'm not going to do the math well here, but let's say we're up to $5,000.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you buy this house, your taxes are going to be $8,000.
Yeah.
So that's $3,000 more per year that you're going to be paying for this house, which is almost $300 per month.
Yeah.
So if you aren't ready for a $300 per month increase, plus your insurance has been going up. Yeah. So now you got an extra 200 there, you got an extra 300 there. Yeah. Now you got to fix the roof because the roof said it's screwed.
Yeah.
Now, you own a home, the AC is going to go.
Yep.
That's a 12-year thing. So those are the financial things. The third best financial tip is when you own a home, when you own a condo, you pay money to the HOA, and people get so mad at this HOA fee. Oh, why do I have a $600 HOA fee?
I hear that a lot. In Miami, they're like over $1,000.
Yeah. So what you're paying for is actually way cheaper than you paying for it yourself. So they're combining insurance, roof, painting your property every 7 years, the pool maintenance for that community pool. Mm-hmm. If you own a single family home, you must be escrowing for this in your own way. Unless you have just a ton of money, you must be putting that money away, because every 20 years you should be you're probably gonna have to put on a new roof. So 20 years. So if a roof costs $20,000, you should be putting away $1,000 a year towards that new roof. Yeah. You're going to have to paint the house every 10 years or else it's going to go to shambles. Yeah. All right. Painting a house is $2,000 over 10 years. That's $200 a year. I need to put that away. All right. Now you got to put $1,200 away. Okay. I have a pool. That pool, I'm going to need to reline it every, let's say 10 years. Yeah. Okay. That's going to cost $5,000. I need to put away $500 a year for the pool. All these things, you don't have an HOA. You don't have a mom and dad to watch you here. It's the biggest place people get hurt. Yeah. Because they're not ready. And then one day comes and they go, oh man, my roof's going to go in the next year or two. Yeah. Yeah. And it's very hard to save up $20,000 in a year or two.
A spare $20,000. So this is like a lot that maybe someone is listening to right now for the first time. It's like, oh my gosh, I've been told my whole life, 20%, 20%, 20%. I'm almost at 20%. But now I'm hearing all this. There's like so much more. I think there's a lot online still, but maybe they're listening right now like, man, 15%. I feel like I'm there, but now this is like a lot. It's very overwhelming. What do you tell someone is like, where do I start? Where do I begin? Like all I hear right now is that interest rates are going up, right? Then you have that big question. Is it better to buy now or is it better to rent now? And I know that is something that you can easily answer. What do you tell someone who's just in that spot? Like I've got a good 15, 20% of a 400, anywhere between $307,000, $800,000 property right now. I've got that in my bank. I am waiting for rates to go down.
You rent right now in this scenario?
Yeah, they don't. They haven't purchased. Yeah,
so you rent right now. If you can afford a $600,000, $700,000 home, go buy a $400,000 home. Live beneath your means.
I love that. I love that.
You don't. Whatever you think you need in a house. Yeah. Here's something I'll test everybody. Look at the house you're living in right now. Just really look at it. And then think about it if you were looking for houses. Is this a house you would buy? Or would you go, this flooring isn't exactly what I want. This countertop isn't exactly like I like it. And start to realize that when you live in a house, you don't give a crap what the countertop is made of. You just care that there is a countertop.
I care there's a countertop and it's clean.
Yeah. Once you're actually in there, you know, I'm getting my light bulbs changed right now so that they're all white. But like, they've been like this for 2 years. One's been white and one's been yellow. And they're right next to each other.
Ooh, I like that.
But it doesn't, at the end of the day, those things don't really bother me.
Correct.
Listen, Jeff, you got me calling him Jeff. Jim was coming over. He was going to fix a bunch of things. And I just kept putting more things on there. All right, let's just get them all fixed. Yeah. I have the money to do that.
Yeah, those are like twos. They're not like need twos.
So get down into the nitty gritty of what you need in a home. Yeah. You don't need, you may need 2,000 square feet. I don't. Yeah. I live, for those of you who don't know, I'm a millionaire. I live in a house that is 1,200 square feet. We are in it right now. It is my podcast studio. It is my workout room. Yep. It is everything. I live in a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, 1-car garage home. Yep. And for the most part, it's great.
Yeah, I feel like you're a master. From day one, I think that's one of the things, talk about qualities, right? From day one, what surprised me about you was do you remember the name I called you?
Himmelbaum.
Himmelbaum. Right? So you remember it. Because I know your numbers. Mm-hmm. Like the role that I have, I know most agents' numbers pretty well. And you even opened up some of your books as well, so we can take a closer look. And your whole demeanor and just character throughout all of those conversations was nothing short of hey man, I'm always looking for a space to grow and to fill my gaps and become better and learn. And from my side of the table, I'm like, bro, you figured it out, bro. Like, I don't think like you need to but like you always came from a very humble posture and always like, yeah, man, I probably could do this better. I know I'm not the best at this. I'm really trying. I just haven't figured it out yet. And I was like, this dude is super humble. I think that was one of the things that was one of the first things I was impacted by. So much so that I changed your last name in real time. And, but yeah, I mean, I think you've mastered the art of living below your means. And I think that's also a leading indicator of playing the long game.
Yeah.
I don't need all the stuff. You know, the people in my life are probably what's most precious in my life.
Yeah.
And so let's enjoy the experiences. I mean, you don't live a bad life either, right? No. You don't live a bad life at all, right? You pick the things that you have pleasure in, right? Whether it's going to Georgia or Chicago for a marathon. You can go to a marathon right here in your backyard. No, I'm gonna go to Chicago. I'm gonna do it, right? Like, so like you pick on where you go above and beyond. But I think that's a whole lot of game that you gave. If I had to answer that question, what should you do if you're looking to acquire a property right now and you're hearing all this noise about interest rates and you're hearing noise about it's better to rent and, you know, businesses and corporations are buying up properties and land and all that, you will not be upset you've purchased a property.
No.
I would say make sure it's in your budget. You don't want those monthly numbers to smack you in the face because they will. Because there's even maintenance, whether you go HOA or single fam, whatever it is, there's going to be surprise expenses. Talk to a realtor. Yeah. That's why they're here, to educate. And the way you know you got a good realtor is because they're okay getting into math with you. The way you know you got a good realtor, they already have a network of inspectors. They've got a network of people that can do some walkthroughs with you and help you envision what a space could look like. Tear a wall down, add some lights, whatever the situation is, help you with loan originating. Like they have a bunch of people that can help you understand. I think that's the first thing.
Comes through being the go-giver. Yeah.
Get with a realtor. You'll know they're good because they'll have all that knowledge and they'll have all those connections. Number one. Number two, go see what you qualify for. Yeah. Like, don't go looking for Zillow properties without knowing where your money's at because they're going to check your credit. They're going to check all these things. And I agree. If you can afford the 6, you don't need it. Get something a little bit lower than that.
It'll be a rental property when you make it.
Exactly right. Like take it as a learning experience. Let that be your where you learn all the things about real estate in real time, like on the job training. And then because you know you're below your means, equity will grow, appreciation will grow. Then you can turn that into an investment property and go get another one.
I just seeing my parents go through the recession.
Yeah.
You know, I just never want to get caught with my pants down in that.
Do not ever.
Yeah. I want to finish this up. The 5 F's. Can you repeat them again for everybody? Because this is one of my favorite things. It's, I think, one of the ways we became really good friends was the 5 F's.
Yeah, because whether it was a 5-minute catch up or 50-minute catch up.
And that's the thing is it can go as long as it wants, right?
Yes. You can zip through it or you can take your time, sip a couple of tequilas as you go through it. But faith, family, friends, finances, and fitness. Yeah. You'll never go wrong. You connect with anyone.
I have a friend who added a 6 to that.
Is it females?
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's for me as only when I talked with the fellas.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Hey, I love you, bro. Thank you for having me, man.
Dude, I couldn't have had a better time doing this. Once again, this is the Mindset Masters with Justin Himmelbaum. I can't think there's been a better episode. Josh dropped some hammers. The 5 F's, I hope you really take that away. I hope you take away that, live at your means or below your means, man. This world is scary. Things can happen. I know interest rates are high. I know all this stuff's happening, but, get trusted mentors and advisors and people that you love. Go out there and form a community of like-minded individuals who are out there trying to grow and trying to do what you're trying to do. Life, it takes a village. Life is really hard alone. Let's all do it together. Once again, Justin Himmelbaum. And what I want to say about that is my DMs are always open at Himmel Sells Homes. Josh's DMs are always open.
Correct.
Drop your Instagram real quick.
My Instagram is Joshua__Paul. It is a private account, but my DMs and my account they are open. If you're not a bot, we can be friends. So the one thing about Josh is he's really faith-based. We didn't really get to dive super deep into the faith stuff, and I would love to have you back on to dive into that. But if you have any questions about faith, or you're struggling with God or anything like that, I also think Josh is a really, 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 I'll take them all. The good ones, the bad ones, any question. I'll take any.
Really huge asset to you there. Thank you guys so much for giving your time to this podcast and listening in. I hope we've provided immense value. Please leave a review if we did. Remember to follow us. It's really key for our numbers that you download the podcast. So if you don't mind just hitting that download button, Apple, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, wherever you listen to your podcast. We'll be back next week with another episode. This has been Josh Paul and Justin Himmelbaum on the latest episode of the Mindset Masters. Remember, today's a great day to have a great day, so make it a great day, Pippin. Peace.